All right, so once again, if you're just new in the meeting, I have the two functions from yesterday, two of the four. These are our parent functions. We're going to be working with them today. F of x equals x squared, and f of x equals the absolute value of x. I want you to plug in the 5 numbers into the function, get the 5 numbers out, and then plot the graphs. We're going to be working with them again today. All right, so some of you guys have been with me for a few minutes now. So once again, when I go to square a number, I times it by itself. So x squared, -2 squared, -2 times -2 is a positive 4. -1 times -1 is a positive 1. 0 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. All right. So as I connect these, I want to make sure that this is a curve at the bottom, not a point. Who remembers from yesterday what we call this shape? What do we call this shape from yesterday?
Isn't that a parabola?
It is a parabola, yep. A lot of us say it's U-shaped. It's a good description. The name of it is a parabola, but it should look like a U, okay? Once again, what we're going to do in a few minutes is we're going to add and subtract numbers onto this function, both in parentheses and out, and that's going to cause the graph to move, all right? Absolute value. Absolute value is the distance from 0, all right? The distance from 0 to 0 is still 0. The distance from 1 to 0 is 1. From 2 to 2 is 2. The distance for the negative numbers is a positive. It basically takes negative numbers and makes them positive. So I'm going to get 1 and 2. As we plotted the graphs yesterday, we noticed that this had a similar shape to this one. It was not the letter U. Was what letter of the alphabet, my friends?
A V.
A V. All right. So we have U-shaped and we have V-shaped. As we remembered from yesterday, anytime that we graphed either one of these, the domain, meaning left to right, goes on forever to the left and forever to the right, and they're both going up. So the domain was from negative infinity to infinity, or we would say all real numbers. Now the range was the y values. It does not go down forever, but it does go up. So we notice that the bottom number on both of these is at 0. So for the range, we would say from 0 to infinity, or we would say y is greater than or equal to 0. So this is a quick review from yesterday. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions from yesterday? From the stuff that we did. All right. Like I said yesterday, I basically did your homework for you if you followed along with us in class. All right. So what I have up here are some new notes. I'd like you to get these copied down. I'll give you a minute to do that. All right. So, does anybody need a second to finish writing? All right. So, like I said, today we're going to take these two graphs and we're going to do what's called a translation. Chapter 4, Section 5 is a translation, which means a translation means to slide the graph. So, we're going to take this point at 0, 0, we're going to move it based on what is being added or subtracted, left, right, up, down in both situations. The shape is going to stay the same. As I leave this point to the right, I'll go right 1 and up 1, right 2 and up 4, left 1, up 1, left 2, up 4. For the absolute value from the main point, once we move it, we'll go right 1, up 1, right 2, up 2, left 1, up 1, left 1, up 2. All right? Now, the key thing is to realize how this point is going to move. All right? The key words in here are that I'm going to use over and over again is it inside or outside the function? If it is inside, we're going to be adding or subtracting numbers inside either parentheses, absolute value, or a square root symbol. Right? If I say outside, it is something being added or subtracted at the end of the function, after the squared, after the absolute value, after the cube, after the square root. That will move the graph vertically. It will slide it up or down. The key word here that people are messing up over and over again is the one that's on the inside. As I move it left or right, it's by the opposite of what you expect to have happen, right? They assume if it's adding a positive number, hey, it would make sense to go to the right. Well, it's actually going to move it to the left. If they subtract a number inside of here, instead of going left, you are going to go right. It's going to do the opposite of what you expect on the inside. The number on the outside makes total sense. If I add on a 4 here, I'm going to go up 4. If I subtract 4 on the outside, I'm going to go down 4. Does anybody have any questions before I erase this table here? Keyword is opposite for the left and rights. All right, we're going to do 3 problems together. One I'm going to do completely with you. This next 2 you're going to do kind of on your own, and we'll go back and check. All right. Let's do this. Let's go f of x equals parentheses squared. So that's telling us we're going to take this graph and we're going to do something with this one. We're going to ignore the absolute value for a few minutes. Let's go f of x. Let's go plus 2 minus 3 here. F of x equals the square root, or absolute, the quantity x plus 2 squared minus 3. As I look at my homework packet here, all right, I have what's called a verbal description right here. Okay, this is where you're going to tell me in words what the graph is going to do based on what's being added or subtracted in the parentheses. Okay. So verbal description. All right. And I'm very, very specific when we go to grade this on the test. All right. The minus 3 on the outside, does that affect the graph vertically or horizontally? Will it affect it left and right or up and down? Minus 3 out here. Here we go. Brandon, why don't you take a guess at that? What do you think the -3 on the outside is going to do?
It's gonna affect it.
Yep. Up or down or left or right, do you think?
Down.
Down. Yep. Because it's outside, out here, what's going to go up or down? So what I'm going to write in words, vertical. And then every time I write the word translation, that means slide. Right? And when you see negative, when you're thinking up or down, you would assume it's going to go down, and it does. So in our graph, eventually, we're going to take this graph here, and we're going to move it down 3 units. But we're also going to move it left or right based on this. Oh, I forgot the 3 here. All right. Now, this part on the inside, this is the one that's tricky. I've told you, you have to do this one by the opposite of what you expect. Okay? What did we say the ones on the inside are going to do? They're going to move it left or right or up or down?
Left to right.
Left or right. So I'm going to use the word horizontal. You must include all of these words. Horizontal. Translation. And we're going to move it 2 units, but it's either left or right. Hey, +2. Hey, we should probably go right 2, huh? The one on the inside is opposite. 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 So what do you think we should do? Go left 2. Pretty good. Now, do not write this down. Someone could not understand why. Here's the reason why we're going to go left 2. Don't write this down. Last week we said f of x is the same thing as the letter y. All right? If I take this and I block that part out, I have y equals -3. That means down 3. If I take what's inside of here and I set it equal to 0 and I solve it, to get it to the other side of the equal sign, I would get x equals -2. That's what is causing it to go left 2. It's by setting that thing equal to 0 and solving. Okay? You do not need to do this. You just need to realize, hey, take the opposite there. All right. In your assignment, they give you 2 tables here. The one on the left will be this one for my x squareds. It's always going to be here. We're going to take this graph and we're going to shift it left 2 and down 3. All right? The new points, when we go left 2 and down 3, will fill in this table. Okay? I can do it first by graphically just doing all that and then filling the table, or some people want to fill in the table first and then graph it. I'm going to do both. So on this one, I'm going to make my graph first. All right. So I start at the point 0, 0. I want to go left 2 and down 3. Left 2, down 3 puts this point at -2, 3. Now, as I said before, the shape is going to stay the same. So from this point, on the original, I go right 1 and up 1, right 2 and up 4. I'm going to do the same thing. Right 1, up 1, right 2, up 4. As I go to the left 1, up 1, left 2, up 4. Now I'll connect my dots. And I have the exact same shape, just shifted, slid, left 2 and up 4. All right, so every time I'm going to have this table, and I need to make a new one for these new 5 points. X and Y. So this point here is at -2, -3. This one here is at -1, -2. This one is at 0, 1. This one is at -3, -2, and -4, 1. All right. Is everybody good here so far to this point? Any questions? Okay. Now, as far as this table goes, like I said, some people would rather make the table first and then put the graph on and use these tables. So if I look at this, if you wanted to make the table first, I would say to myself, what would I do to my x values if I wanted everything to go left 2? Okay. What would you do to the x values to make everything go left 2? Well, all I have to do is subtract 2 from all my x values. So if you subtract 2 from all of these, you'll get these numbers here. Okay. What would I have to do to move my graph down 3? What would I do to my y values? Think about that. What would I have to do to my y values to make them go down 3? Vin, you want to take a guess at that?
Subtract 3.
Yep, subtract 3. So like I said, some people are just going to take the table and subtract all the x values by 2, subtract all the y values by 3, and then take these points and make the graph. You can do it in either order. All right. Now, the last thing you have to do today in your homework for these is find the domain and range. All right. Remember, domain is you're telling me what the graph is doing from left to right, and range is what you're telling me the graph is doing from bottom to top. You can do interval notation or inequality. I'm going to give you about a minute to see if you can come up with domain and range for this new graph. All right. Hold on. How far is this graph going to go to the left?
Forever.
Forever. How far to the right?
Forever.
Forever. So for domain, you have the choice. You can write the word all real numbers. Or you can write negative infinity to infinity with parentheses. All right. That is going to be the case in all of today's problems. You're going to have that same answer for domain. The range. All right. Yesterday, they both were at 0 to infinity, or y is greater than 0. This one is now different. It is no longer on here. It is lower. My y value, its lowest point is at -3 now. So for my range, I can do one of two things. I can say y must be greater than or equal to -3, or I can say -3 to infinity. Your choice. All right. Any questions before we move on and I erase this stuff? All right. So key takeaways. Minus moves down 3 on the outside. Inside is opposite. We had a +2. We assume you go right 2, but it's opposite on the inside. We went left 2. Next problem I'm going to give you an absolute value one, and I want you to start and finish it from beginning to end. All right. So you guys try this one. F of x equals absolute value. Let's go x plus 4. No, let's go x minus 4 plus 1. I want verbal description. Use the words horizontal, vertical. I want a new table of values, a new graph, and a new domain and range. Give you 3 minutes from right now. All right, let's see how we're doing here. All right, we're going to have a new table of values and a new graph and verbal description. All right, verbal description here. Let's start with that. All right. +1 out here. +1 out here. Emily, what do you think that will do to the graph? So you know you're muted, Emily. Any clue what the +1 on the outside will do for us? Hey, Bree, how about you? What will +1 on the outside do to us? Okay. We want to volunteer.
It's gonna be up.
It's going to move it up. Yep. +1 on the outside moves up. So I'm going to go vertical. Translation. Up 1. Okay. -4 on the inside. -4 on the inside. Tyson, what do you think that's going to do for us? Zach, what is that going to do for us? -4 on the inside.
Up 4.
Oh, it's on the inside. On the inside, so it's going to move it left or right.
Oh, then right 4.
Right 4. It's going to do the opposite. Yep. Opposite. You see minus, hey, that should go left. Not on the inside, opposite. So we're going to write the word horizontal. Translation. Right 4. All right. So last time I did the graph first. This time I'm going to do the table first. Okay? Let's see if we can figure out what we need to do to our x and y values for the absolute value. We're not doing this one. We're doing the absolute value this time. What do I need to do to move my x values right 4? What do I need to do to make the new table, everything going right 4?
Do you add 4?
We add 4, yep. We add 4. So add 4. Add 4 into each of these, we'll get 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, what do we need to do to the y values to move them up 1?
Add 1.
Add 1. Thank you, Maria. All right, so as I add 1 here, I will get 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Some people prefer to do this and then take these points and put them on the graph, doing the exact opposite of what we did in the other problem. I have 4, 1, 5, 2, 3, 2, 6, 3, 2, 3. All right. So once again, you can do the graph first like we did in the problem one and then make the table or vice versa. All right, domain. I'm going to kind of go through this quick. Domain, left to right, all of today's problems will be -infinity to infinity. Or you can write all real numbers. Okay. The range, the last one we went down 3 and went up to infinity. This time we're up 1, we're at +1 to infinity. So I can go 1 bracket infinity, or I can say y is greater than or equal to 1. We're going to do one last problem for the day. please be aware that you may not always get two numbers. All right, so the next one I'm only going to give you one number, and you have to decide if it's an up, down, or left, right. Brianna, would you like to do a x squared problem or an absolute value problem? Damani, x squared or absolute value? What would you prefer? Jaden, how about you? Absolute value or x squared?
Absolute value?
Absolute value. Our next one will be an absolute value. Thank you, Damani. All right. Let's go f of x equals absolute value. Let's go x. Let's go plus 2 and nothing on the end here. Give you guys 3 minutes to do this problem. All right, last one here. Adding 2 on the inside. Nothing being added out here. So we only have horizontal or just vertical. Noah, what do you think we're going to have here with adding 2 on the inside?
So left 2?
Left 2, yep. So we're going to go, once again, remember, you need to include all these words for your answers on the test. Horizontal. Translation. Left 2. All right? And remember, he did the opposite because it's positive. We're going to go left. You have the choice to graph the first just by doing a visual thing or by making a table. I'm going to start out by making the table. How do I make the table go left 2? Do I use the X or Y values? Caleb, what do you think we should do to make the graph go left 2? What should we do this table?
Subtract 2.
Yep, we're going to subtract 2, and we're going to do it to the X values. Subtract 2 here. All right, so subtract 2 from all these. -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. We're not doing anything with the Y's, so I just repeat them. 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. We're -2, 0, -1, 1, 0, 2, -3, 1, -4, 2. All right, last part, domain and range. Domain, left and right forever. I'm just going to give the interval one with the infinity symbols. A lot of people get tricked into thinking, oh, you're going left 2, put a -2 for the range. Once again, it's Y values. The lowest Y value is at 0. Bracket to infinity. Lowest point is at 0 and is going up. All right. This concludes the lesson. Does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to finalize attendance. All right. I don't have Cam. I don't have Crystal, Xander, Sabrina, or Anaya. Jacob, I don't have. I don't have Annette, Alexis, Zoe, Caleb V, not Caleb P. If I said your name, please let me know. All right, you are free to go. If you have any questions, I'll be on here. If you just want to work and I'll be here, that's fine.